So, I was scouring social media the other day when I happened to stumble across this video, and it got me thinking, why is this an issue? Personally, I don't really see what the problem is. I wasn't planning on another discussion video so soon, but I felt that I had to say something about this. This kind of thing has irritated me for years. Allow me to explain why. So by saying that something is copying off something else, you're basically saying, oh, you can't do that, and in essence you are stunting creativity in doing so. Imagine if you were cracking on with something, and someone said to you, hasn't this already been done before? You're basically telling them that whatever they're doing is not worth your time or theirs, and believe me, it's not fun being told that what you're doing is an empty gesture. But it asks the question, is this influence or plagiarism? If you ask me, it's the same thing, whatever you call it. Taking someone else's idea just means you admire them enough to want to follow in their footsteps, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to base yourself on your idols. It's what drives people to compose great symphonies and carve great sculptures, because they saw someone else doing it and wanted to aspire to be as good as them. And in doing so, whoever inspired them should feel proud that they've had such an impact on someone else's life and has given them the drive to be better at what they do. So it just seems kind of inconsiderate when people call out others on it to undermine what they've worked on. But Ranter, you unprofessional music historian, I hear you say, stealing is wrong and it shouldn't be allowed. Taking what isn't yours goes against civilised society. And you know what? Normally I'd agree with you, but this is very different. Music is an art and it doesn't belong to anyone. Evolution and the science of wavelengths had made music music, but we as humans figured out how to make it work. But this is aside from the point. My point is that this kind of stuff has been going on since composing music has even been a thing. Even before recording audio was invented, classical era composers accused each other of taking lines from one another's work, and maybe they did. But if they thought it was good enough to have, why wouldn't they? It's not like they're breaking into their home and robbing their belongings. Even after audio recording was invented and became more and more sophisticated, we now have documented evidence of this happening. Allow me to demonstrate. This isn't even beginning to scratch the surface of this. Needless to say, this kind of problem is as old as the hills. Songwriters hear something, it inspires them, they think it's great, and they use it. So many people are quick to judge and look down on this kind of accusation, even though it's literally been going on before anyone watching this video was even born. So why do you have a problem with it now? Honestly, I'd feel privileged if someone thought my work was good enough to have for themselves. Knowing I'd literally directly influence someone else into creating something, it would make me feel zealous, which I guess leads me into my next point. As mentioned earlier, music is an art form that is as old as the hills, and there has been more hours of music created than is physically possible to listen to in a lifetime, and still more gets created every day. So even if you think something is original, the odds are someone has probably done it already, and you just aren't aware of it. Nothing is genuinely new anymore, and I think overprotection of the arts is just as harmful as underprotecting it. So before you go and put down someone else's efforts, think about all this, because after pouring hours, if not days, into making one 3-minute piece of music, the last thing the artist needs to hear is it's unoriginal and borrowing from elsewhere, because at the end of the day, art is art, regardless what inspired it. Well, I think that about covers it. Signing off.